So today we're here in downtown Miami and we're going to do a review on the OMD EM-1 from Olympus. Camera right here you see, I wasn't able to get my hands on an autofocus lens, so I'm going to be doing the whole review on a manual focus lens. So the only thing I won't be able to show you guys is the autofocus speed. Let's go for a walk. We're going to go this way. Try not to get run over by cars, of course. But first thing I want to tell you is the handling on this camera. It's actually pretty nice. It's got a pretty large grip. We can go over here and see a little bit better in the light, but as you can see, the camera, it has a really nice grip. So it's pretty big. It's DSLR-like. Of course, they kept the old school styling like the old Olympus OM cameras. Let's move over this way so we didn't get run over, but basically, yeah, as you can see, this is the camera. I'm sure you've probably seen plenty of pictures online. The screen does tilt, so you can take low angle shots. The only thing I really don't like about the switch over here is that it's on the other side to turn it on and off, and that's not a good thing, because if you want to use the camera one-handed and just turn it on real quickly with one hand, it's kind of a hassle. Unless you leave it on and then you have the automatic shut off, the sleep mode, where the camera is pretty much always on, you can just press the shutter button. We're going to try to do some high dynamic range, so let's see how this turns out. So now, instead of me getting down, having to crouch, since I have the tilt screen, I'm going to take advantage of it and just kind of get a lower angle on the car. Focus. Take the picture. Now this camera is what I call trigger happy. I mean, it's got like a hair trigger on it, so it's very sensitive. You barely have to press the shutter button in order for the camera to take a picture. My ISO right now is actually, let's see what my ISO is set to. My ISO is set to 1250. So it's relatively noise-free. It's not. In my opinion, there's better cameras out there for ISO performance, because this is a micro four thirds sensor, so you're not going to get the best ISO performance. But it is clean. The one thing I do like about the image stabilization on the sensor is that I can use these old lenses on the camera and I'll still have image stabilization. Right there I was shooting at a 20th of a second, where normally handheld without image stabilization you might get some image blur, but on these images they're pretty sharp. Now let's do a vertical shot here. Now I will use the viewfinder, and this automatically is going to switch. As you can see, put my finger to the sensor and it switches pretty quick. It's very fast, it's very responsive. And the one thing that's really great is the viewfinder. It's very fast, very bright, very big. All right. So we got another same settings pretty much. I'm going to use the same settings throughout. Maybe I'll pump up the ISO, pump up my shutter speeds a little bit so I can take a little more fast action. Maybe I'll catch a car driving by or something. Another thing I want to talk about the camera is the button layout. It's pretty nice. These two dials right here, they're awesome. Like, you can hold the camera up to your face and pretty much change all the settings. The one thing I have to get used to is there's a switch here that you flick up and down. It's a 1 and 2. So you have two different modes. On number 2 right now, the way I have it set up is that with the front switch, you're going to control white balance, and with this back switch, you're going to control the ISO. When you flick it up, pretty much only this switch works, and you're going to control your shutter speed, which you can honestly probably keep it in mode 2, and you can also control your shutter speed by going up and down with these up and down arrows on the D-pad here. So let's keep going. Oh, we got a fast car, so I'm gonna pump up my ISOs, pump up my shutter speeds. Alright, so there I pumped up my ISO to about ISO 5000, shutter speed 500, and I mean, it's not the best image. I didn't take it at the perfect time, but as we can see, it's a BMW M3. So it's probably like a 2004 maybe BBC. We got another BMW right here, and then Let's see if we get a picture of that. We got a few good cars. Now we're gonna go into some pretty dark situations. So my ISO is already at 5,000. Let me drop it to, drop my ISO a little bit. And then I'm gonna drop my shutter speeds. Okay, so now my ISO is at 5,000. And we got a good picture of another BMW. A lot of BMWs down here in Miami. This car right here, this is really cool. This is an old, what is this? LTD. It's an Oldsmobile or something. Well, this is a cool car. All right, we got a car coming. I don't know if they're gonna come down. Guess not. All right, so let's pump our ISOs up as high as we can, and this is gonna be an ISO test right here. So let me switch it back to mode 2. Pump my ISO up to 12,800. I don't know if I'd ever go beyond that, but let's see. We got another car coming. Let's wait for this car to pass by. All right. So as you can see, taking pictures with the screen is really nice. You got a really big bright screen on here. All right, so we got another car here. A lot of nice exotic cars around here. Well, semi-exotic. This is like a early 90s Corvette, yellow Corvette. So I'm gonna try to get some good shots, do a little mini session right here. One thing before we get to that is I'm gonna go more in depth about like all the different modes it has. The one thing I'm not used to, I guess, because I don't use the modes, is like the art modes, the scene modes. This is Olympus's top end, like top of the line professional camera, and it has all these lower end camera features, like point and shoot camera features. So I'm not too sure how that's gonna work. I'm not saying there's something they shouldn't have put in, but maybe instead of focusing on things like that, they could have focused on other things like I don't know, maybe overall performance of the camera, ISO performance, stuff like that, because this is very similar to the performance of the OMD EM-5. It's just that the sensor doesn't have an anti-aliasing filter, so it's a bit sharper. So it's supposedly the highest rated Micro Four Thirds sensor out there, but I guess we'll see with what comes out later on in the year. What I wanted to tell you guys is that this is genius, and this is something that they really focused on this camera, is the maneuverability, the controls, the feel of the camera. It's a great feel. It feels really solid. It's weatherproof. Great body construction. It is made in China though. If you look on the bottom, it says made in China, which is kind of disappointing, because if you're going to pay so much money, I don't think you would want it made in China. Nothing against the Chinese, not saying they make bad products, they just don't have such a great reputation. But there is this button right here, which I just think is genius. You press it in to lock it, and then you press it again to unlock it. So it's very simple. Like all the Nikon cameras, you have to hold the button down and then twist it. Same with some of the Canons. So to have that button to press to unlock and lock it is genius. Like I don't know why they didn't think of that in the first place, but Olympus figured it out, and I'm sure they're going to do that from now on all their cameras. So now we're going to go ahead and take a picture of this Corvette. Let's do a little shoot. Try to get some good angles. We got better lighting here, so I'm gonna drop my ISO to about, let's drop it pretty low to 500, and then I'm gonna drop my shutter speed a little bit. You see I'm having a little bit of trouble trying to figure all this out, but let's drop that and let's get some good shots of this Corvette. All right, hopefully the owner doesn't come. He's gonna be like, why are we taking pictures of your car, of his car? Let's get some good shots, try to make it look like it's not in a garage. So this is all at ISO 500. So We're at a pretty low ISO. We're gonna get some nice shot. I'm actually gonna try high dynamic range. As you see, we got some shadow here, we got some light here, so let's put this thing into high dynamic range mode and see what it can do. I put it into HDR2, high dynamic range 2, and let's see if we can get the shadows and get some good high dynamic range here. Alright, and with the in-body image stabilization, hopefully, you know, me hand-holding this, handheld HDR, we'll see how well it does. Try to hold my breath on this one. And I am at a very slow shutter speed, about a 1/15 of a second, so I guess we'll see how good that does. I'll just look at the image, reviewing it. The first one came out all right. It's kind of iffy. You could probably do better yourself on the computer, but it also takes a lot longer. So. Alright, let's see. Let's get there's a lot of motorcycles in the background. I want to try to get them out of the way. Maybe at a really low angle we can kind of do that. Alright, so I mean, I don't have too much depth of field on a micro four thirds sensor, so getting everything else in the background is kind of hard to get it out of the way, but you know, I did what I could, so maybe we got some really cool shots. Maybe later we'll bring his motorcycle to a nicer place, get some really cool shots with some nicer backgrounds, but you know, very nice motorcycle, all blacked out, awesome stealthy look, looks very fast. We got a whole bunch of other motorcycles here. I'm not gonna take pictures of them right now, but a lot of bikes, so I'll take an overall picture of all of these bikes, motorcycles, and bicycles as well. And the first one is, of course, the Ninja.